we had an expression at the Boston Children's Museum which said, "It doesn't feel like us." And if somebody invoked that, it was like a unitary veto. "Doesn't feel like us" meant we weren't going to do it. Now, if you think about that in a business sense, it's completely bizarre. What do you mean it doesn't feel like us? So what? It doesn't feel like us. I mean, we could make a lot of money doing that. And what does feel like us mean? Well, feel like us meant that we had an agreed moral core, institution-wide moral core, so that if somebody invoked "it doesn't feel like us," it was in violation of the values of the institution. And over that, Michael would say, "We're not doing that." And so I remember somebody wanted us to do more than once exhibitions with certain viewpoints, certain slants, and the money was there, and somebody invoked that, and we didn't do it. I should probably talk about Babar. We were going to do a show of the original drawings of Babar. It was at a time when original drawings of children's classic weren't done very much, and would have been a kind of breakthrough show. Not exactly, but it would have been, and it would have been new for us to do because we weren't known as art, and we had done some, but it was moving our edges a little bit. And Babar was much beloved. And Jerry Robinson came to me and said, "The images of the Africans in Babar are an affront to the African American public because they show Africans as warlike and less fully developed, more primitive people." And while one couldn't disagree with her about that, because they do, they're also a historic artifact of a period of time and of a place. So one could argue that, yes, but they're the artistic creation, and they didn't mean it overtly as a negative stereotype. It is a historic artifact. So those were the arguments. And we had staff meetings on this subject in which these arguments were put forward. And then we had senior staff meetings in which, and this is an answer to what is Michael Spock like, Michael pointed out that the artistic control of the Boston Children's Museum Visitor Center was mine, and that he would stand by whatever decision I made. And I canceled the show. I canceled the show, and a very close call for me, because we were and believed in inclusion of all our citizens, and we were talking about stereotypes for Indians. It seemed to me knowingly displaying stereotypes that were offensive to our black citizens was untenable. So we went back to Babar and said, "Would you take those out?" And they said no. And we canceled the show. Now, in the world of art, you would never cancel the show, because these are an artistic achievement. In the world of cultural sensitivity, I look back at that decision as a kind of course. But at the time, it was a very close call. And I remember Jerry coming to me afterwards saying, "I didn't think you would make that decision. I'm grateful you made that decision, but I didn't think I didn't think the institution would make that decision." And today, the same issues would play out, and the Boston Children's Museum, I think, would make that decision, and the art museums, I think today, even today, would make the other decision.